And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Whiskerwood. Since the last stream, they did change a couple things. Let's see if I can figure out how to show what they've changed. Most notably, it was a rebalance on the fishing. So fishing now has catch areas and fishing stocks. So we can't just coat the coastline in fishing docks and get as much yield before. Although I think it's a little bit better yield at the cost of the docks are now competitive. That's how that works. So we're going to need to adjust our docks. I don't know if there's a good way to check what the catch area is. Okay, so it's not going to be historical catch rate because obviously we haven't unpaused since the change has been made. I don't think this is going to fundamentally break our city. There's only like a couple places where we have double docks that I need to go ahead and move the docks to be separate effectively. We've got a dock here, we got a dock here. I don't think those ones are going to compete with each other. We've only got 6 docks, so I do need to do a little bit of rearranging here, or at least disassembly, reassembly going on. So obviously one of these two needs to go, so they're going to compete with each other. We'll go ahead and get rid of this one first. Okay, so that frees up dock workers to work someplace else. That one's probably fine. Again, we got a double stacked one here. That's not going to fly. We're going to have to get rid of one of these. And let's figure out where all of them are. So we got a dock. Oh no, we got 4 docks. So there's that dock, that dock, that dock, that dock. I'm going to guess that probably all those are going to be mostly fine. There may be a little bit of overlap that may have effect. I think we're going to put one... Sorry about that. Had a cough. Probably going to put one over by the lumber camp area. So they can have some food over here as well. And it should be far enough away from the other ones that it doesn't apply a problem. So fishing dock. Those in there wouldn't be too bad. There we go. And give it a little bit of road underneath there, just to attach it to the road network a little bit better. So I think that will work, and then we'll put another one over by our farming community over here. That'll give us the same number of docks. The question whether or not it will be more effective or less effective than it was before. Patch notes said that it was a little bit of a nerf and a buff. Nerf in that you can't just stack them back next to each other sort of thing. But a buff in the fact that they now, I think, have greater capacity. In perfect situations, they're better. They've also changed up how the rock clearing works. Which may affect some of our farmers. The way they changed it is so that the farmers work to fully clear the field before they start fertilizing or start farming it. So that may affect some of our fields if I've got them with rocks turned on. Most likely that's going to affect the mushroom farms because the mushroom farms have got the rock clearing turned on. It just means they're going to basically stop growing mushrooms and take the time to clear the rocks instead, which may boost the productivity here. With what I've got done on, let's go ahead and unpause and see how things evolve. We'll see how long it takes for the capture rate to get updated. Might stay reasonably the same, in which case that's not going to be a problem for us. I'm surprised that they can't find the materials because we just disassembled the fishing dock, so the material should have been in the stockpile. Although maybe we just had that level of wood shortage. Okay, so for the moment you're done with your hole filling. So I think we just unemploy earth workers. We can always put them back when we're ready for them again. You can see the flour conveyor belt there. I suppose that's something we can do to try to offset the any changes in the food, is I can do a little bit more bread. That makes sense. Put a second bakery in here, and then over there we'll put a second windmill. With these done in theory, we should have enough fish that we probably shouldn't notice the fish differences. In fact, it'll be 6 docks, assuming they're working roughly as they were before moving them. They should meet our needs. We were also overproducing fish, so end of the day, if we lose a little bit of fish capacity or fish effectiveness, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, so this one's catching like 70% of the time. I think that's a 70% maybe is a nerve. That's probably around about where it's about the same. Like 95% is probably about the same. Or better. And yeah, otherwise we're continuing our city here. How's research going? Are we researching right now? Yes. Going up to tier 3. Okay. I have a housing shortage of 1. Given that we got another fishing dock out here, we might want to put another house over here to allow people to live near their workplaces. Where did I put the heat item around here? Make sure that it has the coverage. Yeah, okay, that should work. Get the speed going up to full speed. Max speed. So we may, at some point I should go through all the farms. We may suffer a little bit of a food farming decrease in the short term due to the changes with removing rocks. Although vice versa, I think in the long run that means the removing rocks will sort of get front-loaded from the change. So we're going to suffer the penalty initially, then should get much better. So you got your wood inbound. That one is now done. Okay. Okay. And then how comes the baker? Baker is also done. Let's get that operational. We need an apprentice to work it at all. And then if we have a craft master, we want to assign a craft master. There we go. Optimus content. So there we go. Second bakery. I think we probably make enough to operate both bakeries. So extra food capacity will be nice. we had 2 idle camps and they unidled, so I'm not sure if they're idle or not. Oh, and you're done. So you're going to want a couple of farmers. Oops. Farmers, not other work types. That fishing dock did not complete. The house didn't complete. Everything else did, so... We'll play at least, well, we'll play it the whole stream, obviously, and we'll see how the changes affect our fish. It may quite negatively affect our mushrooms in the short run, which may show up as it affecting the fish stockpile as well. Could do with a slightly better way to go through and check all the field states. Today is the pirate blockade and the supply ship. Okay. And pirates are arriving on a stormy night. Stormy day. There's the pirates. Now, in our case, we don't have a lot of use for machinery. We tend to get given more than we need. So we'll pay mostly off of the machinery, and then a little bit of woven cloaks. This mine shaft needs more places to mine. One of the things they changed is they slightly extended the detection radius for mining. So it's now, I think it's 2 into the hill. Oh, because that's the one under the farm. Fair enough. Which makes it a little bit easier to figure out where the ore is going to be. So it's maybe a little bit less tedious now to do mining. Oh, because they're also in the Z level. Fair enough. Like, why can I see that there's stuff on that level? Because it's also in the Z level. Okay. That was the mine that needed new stuff to mine, so that should solve that problem. There's the supply ship. We're gonna go ahead and take the middle option again. I don't necessarily need the wood too much. Now that we've got the conveyor belt going across the entire island, if anything, I should in the future take advantage of maybe trying to do filtering on the conveyor belt instead of running a second one that far. Okay, we're gonna idle camp. You're the one under the sea here. That's where we came in. We've just been digging down, digging down. There's tin. Tin. There's some tin. This is again being findable due to the changes in the sea range into the rocks. There's where our mine camp actually is. Okay. We unpause, and then if I click again, that should take me to the other building that needs my attention. Woodcutter here. Just go ahead and put another ladder in here to climb up to the higher area. Medium, we're just going to have staircases going all the way up and down this area at some point. I think in the long run, we'll probably swap over, if we were to use it for farming, we'll probably swap to elevators. Because if we're just trying to get vertical, I think the elevators are cheaper. Because each step of verticality with the staircases additional is like, I think that's a log, that's a log, that's a log, that's a log sort of thing. We get like 5 planks per log. So the elevator shafts, if our pure goal is to go up, is cheaper. Takes a little bit of more manpower, so it's maybe about the same cost. Once you do all the math, but probably a little cheaper practice. How is the stuff down there? Or do we want to go up? There's just the one tree there, which is maybe... Although that would be very easy to get to that one tree. Okay, so that helps you for the moment. Already got someone here chopping those ones down. We got someone up here. Although we'll probably have him keep working up, so we want to probably make a way up over to there. Like so. So we'll have to probably move the camp, although that's when it comes time to chop this batch down, but that shouldn't be too bad. That's kind of also probably expected. Okay, I finished the house over here, so now we have bedding for everyone. At some point I need to do a reevaluation to make sure we've got the housing where people need it. So I could definitely imagine that might not be the case. Because we've got like 2, 3, 4, might be 5 farms over here. We've at least got 3 farms over here. 3 farms, okay. Got 3 farms over here, which is 2 each. We got 2 mills, which is another 4. Yeah, so it's a total of like 10. We got the fishing dock, which is 13, 14, 15 if you include the fire people. We got 2 more from the cafe. There's like 17 people living over here. And I've only got 10 housing worth of housing over here. So maybe an argument to build some more housing over here just because we got enough people working here. No, I've got oil for this, right? Yeah. Well, now that we got 2 of the mills, let's up that to 10. Doesn't make a big difference, but makes some difference. Well, definitely not seeing any indications we're having problems with feeding everyone, even with the fishing changes. Although that might be due to because we left off the end of the last stream on bread making, so the bread might be displacing the fish consumption. And the mushroom decline, right? We're not making as many mushrooms as we were before. Okay, so we're expecting that to be fairly quick. It was. Put you there for the moment. We got the tax collector in. Obviously, tax collector first gets all the trinkets. They take up a lot of space and are not particularly valuable, but they are, well, we're basically turning a resource we otherwise not be spending into them, so they're not too bad. And then I'm going to stress the fish system a little bit here by exporting some fish. We'll see if fish continue to trend up. After doing that, we'll sell off some cotton. There's maybe an argument to go all the way up to the top tier for more medicine. I think fertilizers in that tier as well. Medicines, fertilizers, ration meals. You know, sure. So just a little bit more cotton. Get that highest tier. Here's a whisker ship. Again, I think we've got enough people, so unless they're, like, really useful, you probably won't take them. Although, can't smell is useful, so apprentice can't smell we'll take. Rebellious is not bad. We'll take Rebellious Farmer. Yeah, we're basically going to keep it nice and simple. Just the two. That doesn't mean I need more housing. We'll probably build it over by the farmers. First, let's get this Rebellious can't smell assigned to a task. Apprentice can't smell. And the other one's just an apprentice considerate, so you can be anywhere else. So that's good. That's an improvement. Anyway, we'll put another bit of housing over where we were. Do fuel additives, so the fuel industries have 20% chance to double input or output. Do some re-rolling here. Soap, medicine, soap, tea. Yeah, I think we'll do this tier. So medicine, soap, tea, fertilizer, machinery. And then here's the supply ship. Once again, we're gonna go medium. Yeah, we're gonna go medium here. And I think I'll try to a bit more of the fertilizer on, as well as rock removal. I'm probably running way too much farmland relative to my farmers as well. You can probably get a little bit more effective use out of your farmland if you run less farmland per farmer, but it's working for me, so... Other than maybe being inefficient for space, this is functional. And yeah, we want more workers over there. So, or don't necessarily actually want more workers over there, but we have more workers in housing. So, no real big problem over there. You know, I don't have a good way. Sadly, the T button does not work on crop fields like they do on other buildings. To cycle through them all, so I can't go through and then be like, oh, I want to remove all the rocks. Or turn the fertilizer on or whatever. One has a lot of rocks to remove. Day 198. We had enough approval that day to get maximum approval from like 3, so that's real good. Again, the biggest complaint from a negative standpoint is bland food. So we can improve the food quality. The Whiskers would be happy. Smuggler in. Pause the game and interact with this. We're getting close to where I'd start thinking about actually selling the processed foods. Right now we got like 250 Whiskers, so things above 250 I'm probably willing to sell. In fact, I'll sell a little bit of smoked fish. Just a little bit. Furniture. We're gonna like 30 furniture. 30 ropes. These we both make, and what's in the stockpile is presumably what's not required by the consumers. Because both the consumers stockpile internally some amount of them. So don't have a problem selling off surplus there. We'll sell off the woven cloak, sell off some of the fuel. You know, we'll sell a little bit of cut stone as well. And then just enough to get to the next bar in plank. There we go. So 12 new bars for the storage. Anyway, we're going to be very happy once the rockiness is cleared here, but right now I think this is being very unproductive because of the rocks in it. Same down here with the changes. Once they've harvested it all, they'll work on clearing the rocks out instead. We got Whiskers again, Compassionate Craft Master. Definitely take you. If you weren't Monarchist, we'd take you. Craft Master, Educated Swift. Sure. I think that's all we're going to take from that batch. Again, we need a little bit more housing over here. The last batch we put in hadn't actually finished building it, so need another house over here. Again, I think we have like 18 people living over here, and previously we had 10 housing, so that'll bring us to 14. Probably still makes sense to build even more housing over there, but we don't need to for the moment. And then you need to be designated to do some mining. Chase the copper like so. Do something like that. I'm not sure if you'll actually get to that over there. Might have to bring it down into the hole for that to work. Sure, we'll do something like that. And then we're almost done. Oh no, we're not almost done. Putting the holes in the floor. Did I not put a... I must have not put a miner over there. Or don't have a miner far enough over there. Let's move one of them over there to get those couple last holes. And then let's get a couple earthworks guys. Because obviously we're still filling holes here. Because again, basically what we've been doing here is mining out the ore in what will be the floor, so that when we're done, we can farm mushrooms on the floor, and not be ever tempted by the ore underneath our feet. Although it is a bit good to see that we're getting close to being done there. Yeah, this is scoring us a bunch of iron ore. So there's almost an argument that if at some point it might actually be worth exporting the iron ore. Okay, some of this down here might not get extracted because it's in the floor of the floor. That makes sense. Or it's in the wall floor, not the floor floor. Yep, bread's being made. Fish skewers are being made. I don't think we moved on. The next thing to do, right, is put those together, I think. The fine kitchen is put those together, the skewers and the bread. So I can actually go look at the research. The patch I don't think added any research. I think it's still the same research as it was before. The fine kitchen. Yeah, smoked fish plus mushroom stew, savory meal. Bread plus fish skewers is hearty meal. Berry soup plus jam pastries is fancy meal. Which is the highest tier of food, I believe. So yeah, we'll probably try to get our bread to fish skewers mixed. That's probably one of the things we try to research fairly early on. Although it's plus spices, so I need to get spice farming going. So we're gonna have tea and spice. We're gonna have to grind the peppers into spice to go in the field kitchen, and then the fine tea is tea leaves plus spice. So that might be what we try to do here. We have to fertilize the fields anyway to do either of those, so other than having to de-rock the place, we should actually be able to farm up here fairly easily. Can I place farm fields? That a farm? And the answer appears to be yes. Oh, there is a salinity thing, which is new as well. So that doesn't want to be too close to the coast. Okay, so that's something like 5 fields based on the numbers I've seen on the internet, which may or may not be the appropriate amount. Okay, so that should be reasonable for covering that area. Yeah, we'll make some tea. In the area here. Although, first of all, the first thing they'll be doing is actually clearing rocks. Or even start contemplating fertilizing the fields. We'll try to clear the rocks. The rocks is, like, absolute in some of these places. Okay. Oh, I should check to make sure this place is going to be... Well, this place isn't going to be unequally because we haven't sorted that yet. Although it should be easy to do. If we're about to there... So I'll have a better idea of how well that works come spring. But in the meantime, farmers, to your fields. Here we go. Nope, woodcutter needs the evaluation, which is not surprising. That's very high mill. Up we go. Here we go. Anyway, we're starting to run low on wood here, although I think the thought process in the future is maybe turn that into a giant lumber farm or something. Of course, we'll put elevators in to make it a little bit more maneuverable for the poor farmers. Yeah, the first thing they should be doing after they plow the fields is work on removing rocks, which is why I'm not bothering yet with the fertilizer. Although maybe I should bother the fertilizer. Let's turn the fertilizer on before I forget. Because these are going to be tea farms, so they're going to have to be fertilized one way or the other. Got ourselves a nice small warehouse full of flour. And a warehouse across the river, or across the road, which stores the bread. Almost done with researching Tier 3. And oh, is it not a cheap tech. Yeah, we're definitely producing enough fish after the fishing changes. All I did is I basically split up 2 docks. It's mostly building docks where we'd have people, because we're sort of spread out over multiple islands, right? We're built docks where we had people, not just one giant fishing village. So it seems the fishing changes didn't necessarily seriously impact my fishing strategy. It has, in theory, reduced their capacity, right? So this one's supposedly catching 70% of the time. So 80, 90... That one's actually doing 100, that's nice. 65, 70, 80... So whenever 100% is actually the new one. The brand new one. Oh no, that's 10%. We have one that... Oh, this one was doing 100%. But yeah, as you can see, it's... apparently the fish is a mixture of shallowness and competition for the area, right? So that one that's getting 100% actually has a big, vaguely shallow area to farm it, or fish it, which is why it's catching that area. This one apparently is saying it's got fairly low catchment area, although it's definitely not great fish stocks either. That's the end of day 200. Yeah, we could definitely do with better food. Again, that's something we are working on. Apparently we're succeeding pretty well on the other subjects. Now, how goes... we've got down here... Cotton gin. Making thread. Backing up on thread. We are backing up on thread again. So that's... Or backing up thread for once. So we might be able to be a little bit more efficient. Backed up on fabric. Okay, so we're at the point where we can contemplate trying to do more with it. Woolen cloaks are 28. Tailor cloaks are up to 138. Okay, so I should probably swap over to making some bedding. I want to improve housing quality again. Once again, we're going to push the trinkets out. We'll go ahead and put some strain on the fish, bringing it back down to about 300, actually 250 fish. And I think we'll, once again, sell enough cotton to try to get into the highest tier. Yeah. In theory, cotton should be underperforming, although I do have the fertilizer in a bunch of fields, which should be helping. Again, we're going to go for the medium one here. I don't really need the tea, and you can't turn tea into fine tea. Industry machines were down 50% slower. That's interesting. I think we're going to pass on that. So we're going to do a reroll here. I've seen that one before. Soap. I think we'll go with this one just because of soap. Okay, we'll go ahead and take the buff and the soap. Oh, I'm out of bronze. Content. We could just use a regular farmer's. Content's not bad. Weak monarchist rude. Yeah, we're just gonna pass on the rest. I'm just gonna take content. I already know where I'm gonna put the content. I put someone who wasn't a farmer in a farm job. Oh, and apparently I've got a farm here with no one in it. So you could definitely use more farmers. They've got a lot of work ahead of them to get the rocks out of the field. So last time I clicked on here, we have they clear the rockiness a little bit faster. So that's one advantage of the change, is they're a lot better at getting rid of the rockiness. Although they will now do it before they plant anything, so be prepared for that. We're making bronze. You're saying at the production limit for bronze. Oh, it's bronze delivery that's being an issue with the research centers in the farther end of the island. I'm like, I must be short on bronze because I'm clicking on here and it's like the thing it's held up on is not bronze. No, it's a long walk across the island for them to get bronze. That's what I get for having old research quarters in places where they're pretty far away from the action. Yeah, just consistent, almost permanent line of flour going right across the island. Okay, woodcutter needs adjustment. Okay, we'll put you down here. You're not going to be down there for very long because you only got 2 trees, but 2 trees down there that got down. Yeah, maybe don't need that many lumberjacks over there anymore. I could build the bridge out to this island and start lumberjacking over there as well. That's probably what we'll do. Yeah, we're definitely still making more fish than the people eat, so no concerns for food. Yeah, we pretty much at this point looks like we graduated like tier 2 food. Right, fish was 0-star, smoked fish is 2-star, bread is 2-star, hardtack is 2-star. We haven't quite broken into 3-star, which is the fish skewers. Because of issues with the mushrooms. And the fact I'm probably undersigning workers to the crop fields. 2 workers for 243 crop fields is probably not enough. I've seen some people, again, as I was doing on the wheat farms on the other end of the island, some people on the internet are suggesting 2 for 25, which seems small, but maybe it isn't. You know, we'll take the high one here because of the large amount of tea. And there's research tier 3. So we can get an idea of what the tier 3 research costs. So it's all plank, copper, bronze, and iron. Precision scales, steel plates, machinists. I assume the steel plate's probably required for building something. Whether that's been added to the game or not with the builds, I'm sure. Okay, let's start on spice cultivation. Do spice grinder, field kitchen, fine tea. Good to see that you're done mining the holes in the floor. Okay. So fill in those holes, and once most of those holes are filled in, we'll start putting farmers down here to farm more mushrooms. Okay. The reason... Oh, that's the reason I'm not mining out that ore. Because it's not on the floor, it's in the thing under the support column. Okay. See, I'm not too much longer. Although I can probably... Let's speed it up a little bit. Got a bunch of earth movers. So if we can get the good old mining guild on it. Do it a little bit faster. We'll do something like that. That should get that operational pretty quickly, and then we can start designating some fields down there for them to clear the rocks out of. 75% cleared? 44, 68, 88, 14. So this will probably be the first one that'll be going first. Looking at the time, I probably should already put the part break in. I'm trying to keep these 30 to 40 minutes long. I say, looking at the clock and seeing it's 53 minutes long. So when the night ends for this day, we'll go ahead and put a part break in. The plan right now is to record 3 more parts. And as far as the plan for the run is concerned, I'd like to make it the rest of the way through the tech tree. Basically get the working field kitchen, get positive hearty meals in the stockpile, and then probably call that good. Which is mostly mushrooms. Mostly getting mushrooms going and getting the building going, right? So that shouldn't be too hard to do. And then we'll probably demonstrate for a couple days that we're getting like maximum approval every day. Although apparently we're getting maximum approval right now, so it's not a hard ask. Yeah, we got good thread and fabric. Probably is time to get some bedding going as well. That comes from the tailor. Okay. Looks like someone may have just followed the channel. We have the banner of hitting a follower goal on the channel. I was wondering what that was flashing on the other screen. Go ahead and put the tailor, the second tailor in there. That one will be the one that works on bedding. Day 202. There we go, hitting maximum approval this day. Again, the biggest complaint people have in the village is the bland food, which is what we're working on. It's like the main thing we're working on. So as I said earlier, this is where I'm going to put the part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll have another part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to get up stretch the legs, sip a little bit of tea, and then be right back to recording. So we'll have about a 3-minute break. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.